All right, welcome to our deals of the week. This week we've got three really cool houses for sale here in St. Petersburg, Florida. Actually, one of them is Seminole, but three houses here in Pinellas County. If you're buying a house in the Tampa Bay area right now, remember we are without question in a buyer's market. So let's jump in and review our buyer's market tips. Remember, we're looking at days on the market. Plus price drops. I can't stress this enough. You're trying to get some idea of the psychology of sellers. A lot of sellers are bailing right now. They're putting their house on the market. They're not getting the price they want, and they're taking it off the market. Were they ever really serious, or are they just demanding an unrealistic price? You can glean a lot from how long a house has been on the market and how many price drops they've had. That's a sign that the seller and the listing agent are methodically trying to find a price at which the market will respond. So look for that. Try to buy in established neighborhoods to the extent that your budget allows. This is not a great time to be looking at quote unquote up and coming areas that could potentially stall out. You want to buy the neighborhood if you can. Even sometimes it's a good idea to sacrifice a little bit on the house to get into a better neighborhood. Always look for low maintenance properties, especially now. The insurance situation in Florida is not great. You need to pass a 4-point inspection, which is electric, AC, plumbing, and roof in order to get insurance. So look for those things. Reading descriptions of houses can be pretty boring. There's a lot of flowery language in there. It's a sales pitch, essentially, that the listing agent, they put things like, the house greets you into a large living area or whatever. What does that really mean? It doesn't mean anything. But if you do a Control F or a Command F, if you're on a Mac and you're looking on a laptop, just type in new, type in AC, type in roof, and you can kind of skip all that because you want to look for things like newer roof, newer AC, potentially electrical upgrades or plumbing upgrades as well, because you don't want to run into any insurance issues. And then finally, look for broad appeal houses. And by that, I mean, now may not be the best time to buy sort of a quirky house with a weird layout. The typical 2-bedroom, 2-bath, or 3-2 with a garage is the most in demand, and we're not in a super strong seller's market right now. So if you found yourself in a situation where sooner rather than later you had to sell, you want a house that's going to be popular on the market. So again, look for those broad appeal features. So let's just jump in and see if our first house meets those criteria. This house is out in Seminole, and we can see here right off the bat that we are a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,636 square feet. I mean, that is dead center of the market. It's a good family house. It's a good house for a young couple that may have kids or whatever. This is a, real middle of the market situation. We'll get to the pictures in just a second, but if you're not familiar with the Seminole area, let's see where it is in Pinellas County, and let's just zoom out on the map here, and maybe that's a little bit too far. You can see Seminole's over here, downtown St. Pete is over here. So it's about a 40-minute ride to downtown. You're actually sort of closer to Largo and Clearwater, and I'll zoom out a little bit more so you can get a little bit better feel for where we are in the Bay Area. And you can jump on 275, you're over to Tampa, and the airport is in that area. Now, the upside is you do have access to all of the beaches from here, which is nice. And it's not a terrible ride to downtown, but it is a little bit of a ride. So it's a good area. We're not in a flood zone out there, even though we're close to the water. So let's jump into the pictures real quick and see what we've got. Curb appeal is good on this house. It's a 2-car garage, as we can see out front. And it's got a really nice pool. I'm not so crazy about how little room there is between the house and the pool. You've got a little bit of deck area over here. This is not particularly wide. And then you've got a shed over here. Naturally, you'd like, to have room for a bunch of deck chairs and stuff. So this backyard is not huge. So that's not ideal, but that's what it is. And the kitchen, you can see, is huge. However, I would say, based on, these don't look like custom cabinets to me. They're nice, but I would bet that this is a 15-year-old renovation. Looks like maybe potentially some newer appliances here. So not bad, but nice big open kitchen. And there's your kind of screen porch that leads to the pool, which is very nice. Looks like mature landscaping, very nice neighborhood. Some more shots of the pool, some artificial grass here in the back. Or actually, that's the side yard. Some looks like real hardwood floors there. We got a little bit of a mismatch, and this is, again, these are not deal breakers, but these are things that we're going to use as leverage if we're making offers on houses. Notice the sort of darker color frame here. This is obviously not a brand new window. It doesn't appear to be an impact window. And then you go to the next picture, and we see white frame windows here. And this looks like just the size of that frame there tells me that this could be an impact slider. So we've got some mismatch windows, not the end of the world. Ideally, we've got impact windows everywhere, but that's not the case here. So again, some shots of the kitchen, a dining area, nice tile. And here's a little clue that this is not a recent renovation. You can see here, this cabinet drawer is a little bit off. I mean, obviously that could be fixed, but this is not a recent renovation by any stretch. And a decent sized second bathroom. And a sort of different laminate and tile. So, I mean, it's not my favorite thing. I like to see some, it's not that every room has to have the same flooring, but we've got mismatched colors in a lot of the rooms. Like this looks like a tile in the closet here. And these floors are a different color than the living area. And of course, the kitchen is tile, which is fine. This other bathroom looks pretty nice, big. That looks like an older vanity. So this is not, again, these are partial renovations here, I think is what we're looking at. Older windows in the other two bathrooms, big 2-car garage. And of course, this is the storage shed. And there's a good shot of the pool. So, it's got some room back there. I'm not saying there's no room. It's just not as big a deck as you might like to see. Got some nice mature landscaping. And then we'll take a quick look at the street view. We are not on a busy street, although we are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, about 4 houses from alternate 19. So maybe some traffic noise there. We'd have to see. So let's take a look at the days on market here. We're now 126 days on the market, and we've only had 2 price drops, which is a little bit surprising. So they went on in August. They did a $10,000 price drop a month later, and now 3 months have gone by, and we had a price drop to $499. So who knows what that means? Maybe they've hit their limit here. Maybe they've gotten enough showing activity at this price that they feel comfortable that they're going to get an offer in the $489, $485 mark. It's hard to say. But let's look at the fourth buyer's tip here, and that is our maintenance situation. And the listing agent did a nice job of sort of summarizing everything here. We've got a new roof in 2025 and a fully owned solar system. So your electric bills are going to be pretty cheap. We're in a flood zone X, so we're not going to be worried about flood insurance here. We don't know about the air conditioning in this house. However, the seller's offering a $10,000 credit to buyers. So that's pretty nice. So let's go through and score this one real quick because it's got some things that I really like. Naturally, I would like a newer renovation than this, but as far as broad appeal, I'd say, as a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,600 square foot house with a pool, that's going to attract a lot of buyers at the right price. So I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10. As far as established neighborhoods go, this is, in this part of Seminole, is quite established. And you can see that it's got beautiful, mature landscaping here. So we've got an established neighborhood. I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10. On the maintenance scale, we've got the new roof, which is great. We've got an owned solar, so your energy bills are going to be pretty low, but we don't know if there have been any updates to the air conditioning, plumbing, or electric. That's something that we would want to find out. So I'm going to give that a 6 out of 10 right now. And then our price and days on market, we have a motivated seller here. And again, this is not bad, but we're talking about a fairly recent, almost $20,000 price drop, but now they're 4 months with just a couple of price drops. Hard to say at this point. My guess is they must be getting some action. A pool house at $305 a square foot is pretty good. They're probably getting some action on the showing. So my guess is that an offer here might be accepted in the 480, 485 mark. So let me know what you think on this one. I like this house. It's not perfect. It's a little bit close to a busy street. So I'd want to check out the noise situation there, but it is got a lot going for it for a pool home at $300 a square foot, which tells you right there we are in a buyer's market. My name is Steve Reynolds. I'm a realtor here in St. Petersburg. So if you are thinking about buying or selling, shoot me a text, send me an email, give me a call. I'd love to help you out. And drop a comment, as I said, subscribe to the channel to get notifications of updates. And let's move on to house number 2. All right, let's take a look at house number 2. This one is kind of in the middle of St. Petersburg. It's at 6350 18th Avenue North in the Garden Manor neighborhood. So rule number 1, does it have broad appeal? This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with 1,455 square feet. So sort of in the middle of the market, really. Here's something I really like. We're starting to get into that 250, 260 a square foot range, which if it's move-in ready is, to me, really, really good. So we'll get to the pictures in just a second, but I want to check out the map so that you can see where we are. Let me just zoom out a little bit here. And if you're familiar with St. Pete, you know that this is sort of the Tyrone area, and there's a mall right here. So you're close to the mall if that's of any interest to you. About 20 minutes to downtown, about 15 minutes to, well, maybe 20 minutes to the beaches, but you have access to the beaches going a bunch of different ways, which is nice. And we are not in a flood zone here, which is also critically important as flood insurance has become prohibitively expensive for non-elevated houses. So let's check out what our seller signals are here. We're 189 days on the market, man. It's just such a weird thing to see given the last few years that houses weren't lasting more than a few days. So 189 days on the market, and we've had, let's see how many price drops on this one. Okay, we've had a lot of price drops here. So they went on the market June. They've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 price drops. And I'm telling you, if you're out there looking to buy a house, these are the things that you want to look at. This doesn't tell you that this is a desperate seller. This tells you that a listing agent and the seller have agreed to methodically and, say slowly every few weeks, chip away 405 to 402 to 401 to 395, a little bit at a time. What they're doing is waiting to see if they're getting any action showings at 415. If not, they're not sitting around waiting. They're lowering it a little bit, and they're probably honing into that price because $261 a square foot, for a move-in ready house is pretty good. So kudos to the listing agent and the owner of this house that they're willing to drop the price as needed until they find the right buyer. So let's take a look at the house and see if it's got the maintenance situation under control. And as I said earlier, do a Control F if you're on your laptop and just type in new or AC or roof, and it'll highlight everything for you. So this has got a new 2025 gray barrel tile roof. It's probably a 40 or 50 year roof, which is great. Fenced backyard, new AC in 2024, impact windows and doors. I mean, this is fantastic. New dryer, whatever. Kitchen exhaust fan in 2020. Some other new stuff in there, appliance and so forth, but we're mostly concerned with roof, AC, plumbing, and electric. Doesn't say anything about the electric or the plumbing, but we've got a couple of those things taken care of. So let's take a look at the pictures and see if this is something we would be interested in here. And I will tell you right off the bat, and again, I'm telling you, if you're out there buying, I know what you're thinking here. There's not great curb appeal on this house, right? But that shouldn't mean you don't go see it. Like when I see this here, I mean, I'm not being critical of the photographer, whoever took this picture, but why would you take a picture of a half-broken front yard light? It's just not a good picture. That's to your advantage, though, if you're a buyer, because a lot of people want to see that blockbuster, dusk picture of the house, and then you get there, maybe it's nice, maybe it's not. But this is not a great picture. It's going to turn off some buyers, and that means fewer buyers, lower price. So don't discount bad pictures. Try to see past that stuff if at all possible. So let's get to the inside and see what we've got here. There's the floor plan, like this here. I mean, why did you leave this up? I don't know. Again, probably a turn off to a lot of people. Use it to your advantage. So kind of a typical St. Pete styled house. A big open living room. Already I see something that I would not be crazy about. And you can see, I always see this, with older laminate, these seams in the floors, they do contract. And when they contract in the wrong places, they tend to leave seams here. So I would guess this is maybe not the best laminate, something that might have to be changed at some point. Not the end of the world. Decent sized living room, not an open kitchen, which most people prefer. Obviously, I'd blow that wall out, put a big slab of granite there, and have an eat-in counter here. That's just my taste. Most people would do the same. I don't think those are load-bearing walls. This is not a new renovation. This is a serviceable kitchen. It was renovated at some point, maybe in the last 15 years or so, but good sized. Using this as a dining area, it looks more like a family room to me. And the ensuite for the primary is, a little bit dated. This would be the original tile. Obviously, you don't see that so often anymore. So decent sized rooms. I mean, I'm not saying this house is perfect. This is a renovated bathroom here. And you've got the one-car garage. And this kind of looks like a little extra room. It's got a drop ceiling in it. Nice little back patio. I don't know, guys. What do you think? This house is in good shape, but it's not in great shape. This is clearly not a recent renovation. But the reason that I picked it is whenever I see something at $261 a square foot that has good bones, I mean, you could put 25 into this, 30 into this, redoing the floor, and then later on, maybe think about redoing that kitchen, and you would really have something there. Because a 3-bedroom, 2-bath at almost 1,500 square feet for under 400 is something that's going to grab my attention. So let's see, does it fit all of our 4 rules? The broad appeal, I would say at a 3.2 of 1,400 square feet, yes. Condition maybe is not great, so we're going to give that a, say, 7 out of 10. This is an established neighborhood, Garden Manor, over by the mall. I don't think you're going to have any issues there. It's not in a flood zone, so we'll give that an 8 out of 10. Low maintenance. What we know about it, yes, new AC, a new roof, gray barrel tile roof. I mean, so you're talking 40 years there. It's got some other new stuff. It doesn't have the polish of a recently renovated house, but I think maintenance-wise, we're in pretty good shape there. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. And then I'm going to give the price change days on market a 10 out of 10. This listing agent and this seller have methodically lowered the price 8 times to try to find a buyer. I would bet that maybe in the $350 range, they're going to find it after a total of a $46,000 price drop. So I like it. I don't love it, but if I had 30 or 40 grand in cash to go in and do some things to this, and I got it in the $350 range, I'd be thrilled with this house. Let me know your thoughts. You think it might be still a little bit too expensive given the condition? Let me know. With that, let's move on to house number 3. All right, let's look at house number 3 here. This one is in the Jungle Terrace neighborhood, which if you're familiar with, I mean, we'll get to it in a minute, but this is a great neighborhood. So let's start out with the broad appeal. Rule number 1, again, we're at a 3.2, 1,600 square feet. This should be the easiest house to sell at the right price. Again, I keep saying this over and over, but if you buy a house and something happens that you need to sell sooner than later, you want to make sure that your house has broad enough appeal that it's not going to sit on the market forever. And quirky houses tend to sell more slowly. 2-bedroom, 1-baths. Garage conversions sometimes sell a little bit more slowly. So a 3.2 at 1,618 square feet at $290 a square foot in the Jungle Terrace neighborhood. I'm liking this so far. If you're not familiar with Jungle Terrace, let's take a quick look at the map. It is on the west side of St. Pete, and let's zoom out a little bit to get a feel for it. It's all the way out on the west side of St. Pete. So here's downtown, and here's the house over here. It is maybe a 25 to 30 minute ride to downtown, but look how close you are to the beaches here. You're just over the bridge and you're on Madeira Beach in 10-15 minutes, and you have access to all of the beautiful St. Pete beaches. So location is good, and you'll notice, let me just zoom in a little bit more, because you probably will be thinking this is really close to the water. I mean, you're literally a block away. Look at that. You're a block away from the water. We are not in a flood zone here, so you would not be required to carry flood insurance. It is a bit raised over there. I'm not saying it's impossible that you're not going to get water intrusion, but it is the Flood Zone X, which is a low-risk flood zone. So let's see what the price situation and days on market here are. So we've been on the market 3 months. This is not the best sign. They went on the market in September 5th. They lowered the price by $6,000 on October 14th, and now we're almost 2 months later and no price drop. Now, a couple of things going on here. One, they may be getting some action here, and they might feel like they're close, even though I don't see any pending, so it hasn't been under contract. And I'm not saying this is a warning sign, but this is something that's facing a lot of people trying to sell their houses right now. The house last sold in August of 2023 for $455,000. They went on the market at $475,000. Maybe because that's what they thought the market was, but also maybe because they thought we just want to get out even at this point after paying taxes and commission and everything. And that has not come to pass. So there could be a psychological barrier to lowering the price that has nothing to do with the market. It's the fact that they're going to take a loss on this house. I mean, they're still going to take a little bit of a loss here by the time they pay commissions and everything, but it's not that big. So we might be looking at a house whose market value is well below $469,000, but the sellers are like, we can't stomach taking a loss. So I'm not questioning the motivation here, but I do question whether or not we are at the right price, given that it appears that they may be trying to just get close to breaking even, which is not how the market works. All right, you guys, they're out there bidding on houses. You're the ones who set the price. So let's run through the pictures real quick. This is I think a gorgeous house from a curb appeal. Got a nice circular driveway with a 2-car garage there. It looks like very well maintained, very nice inside. Floors look beautiful. Again, we have a enclosed kitchen here that's in the front of the house. I don't know. I'm not saying that's weird. It's just not an ideal location. And a little dining area, and it's a galley kitchen, not everybody's favorite. I'm not sure how you could reconfigure this if you wanted a more open kitchen. I'm sure it could be done, but these cabinets look nice, appliances look nice. So this is this is a relatively recent renovation. Solid surface countertops, laundry room there, good size primary. This house is not huge, but it looks super clean. This is a 2nd bedroom, looks very big. I guess this is what they're using as the primary. They don't have any curtains up here or any blinds, so I don't know if I'd want to, there's a fence, but I'm not sure I like the privacy situation. I probably put a nice big blind here, not a big deal, but pretty good size primary suite. And a beautiful backyard. This house looks neat as a pin. I don't know if that's big enough. Sometimes hard to tell with pictures that you could get a pool back there. But I would certainly, the first thing I would do, because I'm an outdoor kind of guy, I would build at least the biggest deck I could out here. I have a dog, so there's plenty of room for a little bit of a play area for the dog over here. But there's no outdoor living space, which for this house, which, you know, I would put something back there anyway. So let's see what else we've got. And there's just an artist rendering. So you could put a small pool back there. And then a very deep, this is nice. It's a very kind of deep front porch. Just really nice. And there you are. Look at how close you are to the water. I mean, this is the street. I don't know where the park is from here. These look like all houses on the water. So it's not like you have access to it, but it goes up. So you're elevated enough not to be in a flood zone. And then these are the beaches all out here. So really, really nice house. Let's go through and score this one and see if it's a possibility, because I love Jungle Terrace. I love that area. So we've got an established neighborhood. I'm going to give it 10 out of 10. It's beautiful over there. Broad appeal. This house is in really nice shape. I'd prefer an open kitchen and not a galley kitchen, but you know, I'm not going to take too many points off for that. It's a 3.2 with 1,600 square feet, under $300 a square foot. So I'm going to give it an 8 for the broad appeal. The low maintenance situation. We've got newer windows. We don't have a lot of information on the systems, although actually I did look at the seller's disclosure. The roof and the AC are 9 years old, so that's kind of right on the edge there. I'm going to give maintenance situation a 7. Roofs don't last forever. ACs don't last forever. Those are going to have to be replaced in the next, say, 10 years, or a little bit less for the roof. And then the price situation with the days on market. They've had one price drop of $6,000. They are right on the edge of taking a loss. Are they super motivated at this point? I don't know. That would be my concern. So let me know what you think. I really like this house. I love this neighborhood. I like this price at $290 a square foot. Would you take it at $450, $449? You think they would go for that? They're now into the third or fourth month of being on the market. I don't know. But let me know what you think. Hit the subscribe button so you get notified of new deals of the week. My name is Steve Reynolds. I'm a realtor here in St. Petersburg. If you are buying or selling anywhere in the Bay Area and you have any questions, I'd love to help you out. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. And that's our deals of the week this week. I will see you next time.